Now, Intel-wise, we're going to have the Intel portion of the segment, and then we're going to bring Sue and Bob in for a mini roundtable to discuss some things that Sue has come up with, which I think will be really exciting. So first of all, the Intel that we have been receiving has been good, and it was yesterday afternoon, evening, and a little bit late this afternoon before the call. So I'm excited to bring you what I think is where we actually stand. First of all, we've got to look at the situation as a whole. We know that we had heard for years, guys, that stock markets would be dropping, et cetera, right before this went. I didn't quite understand how, or certainly how it could happen under President Trump, but we're not in that situation, even though he's definitely working things out in the background. But in the meantime, we're seeing major drops in the market. I don't know what the total was today. I know we dropped precipitously on Tuesday. I don't know what happened yesterday. Today we were down 730 or 40 points by 11 o'clock in the morning. So I'm thinking today was also a pretty down day in the markets. The other thing that's interesting is cryptocurrencies have pretty much crashed with the exception of, I think, two. And that's Ripple, not the cheap wine, Ripple, and the other one I believe is called Stellar. Now, both of those are asset-backed, if you will, by gold. Charlie Ward brought something out on Tuesday's call that I heard that said that he calls them tokens. We use the term crypto coin. I believe we're talking about the same thing. The tokens, as Charlie says, a token has a value of 1 gram of gold. You say, well, how much is that? Well, most of us knows what an ounce is, and a gram is 28.3 grams to an ounce. Okay? All right, so that's a small value. It's a small amount, 1 gram of gold. That would be the value of one crypto coin. As far as we can tell, that's how it's established. So now, at least those two coins, and that may be all that's left, guys. I don't know. I don't really follow the crypto. But I think what I'm understanding is that those two are left and have that value because they're gold-backed, just like our currencies will all be gold or asset-backed. Okay? So that's interesting that that's happening. So even though it appears that the crypto coins as a whole have crashed, the market has dropped precipitously, and also real estate prices are starting to take a dip. And this is due to increase in interest rates a little bit, making it a little bit harder to buy as much house as it was a couple of months ago. And then, of course, you've got the problem with Evergrande Bank in China, and it is Evergrande Bank in China, is having major issues as a mortgage lender, and China has taken a hit of about 28 to 30% even in a 24-hour period on their housing market. We are not directly influenced by Evergrande Bank here, but we are still seeing a shift and possibly a downturn of 15 to 18% in housing prices. Now, obviously, housing fluctuates and goes up and down. We'll have to keep an eye and see what happens on that. But this is something that we had heard would be taking place pretty much right up until the time that we were getting ready to get the revaluation of the currencies, which that will happen. Some of you guys have heard some things by a few online people that really, boy, Charlie Ward was much more judicious in his language with some of these people than maybe I would be, but I'm remembering Sue's teaching tonight, so I'm going to try to be good. Guys, you have to understand, some people just are not really getting the whole picture. They don't quite have the intel coming in. They haven't been in it long enough. There are people that are doing interviews that really are not really aware of what is happening, don't understand everything that's happening with the global currency reset, don't fully understand, and it's hard to understand the quantum financial system or the blockchain technology. You know, I'll just say this much. We know, we don't just think or maybe it'll happen. We know that all currencies around the globe will be fluctuating and changing in value. We know about 27 of them will be going up, some going up a large amount. And you know what I'm talking about. You know I'm talking dinar and dong, rupiah, Afghani, Bolivar from Venezuela, obviously the ZIM, but the ZIM is a bond, and that puts it in a different light. So, yes, will all of these countries' currencies, some will go, most will go up, some will go down to level the playing field. We know that. We've talked about that. But what I really think is interesting is that certain people are just not getting the memo. They just have not followed it and don't understand that this is a very real thing. It's not an if, it's a when. And we know that. So, continuing along the intel line, what we have heard was that we were looking for bondholders to start being notified today. We had heard yesterday that it would be this afternoon that they would start receiving notifications and of their liquidity and have access to funds. It ends up that they started going out at 4:30 this morning, Eastern Daylight Time, and those are continuing to go out and will probably continue for a couple of weeks to the bondholders. Who are the bondholders? Tier 3. Tier 3 bondholders. So they are in the process of receiving those notifications by email, and then they will subsequently have access to funds. Whether it's tonight or tomorrow or the next day or whatever, they are going to be notified as to when they can access their funds. So that has started. That's a good sign. We are coming in a close second to Tier 3. We didn't get notified yet, but we could be notified, I'm going to say, in the next few days. It looks like we are going to be notified in the next few days. Along those lines, we did get some additional information from a redemption center. This is a new redemption center to me, but we got information that suggested that the redemption center staff would be going in Monday at 10:45 in the morning on this coming Monday. Now, in order for that, and they would be going in to be able to set our appointments for Tier 4B. All right, let's say that is what's going to happen, because that's what we're hearing from a pretty reliable source, a new source in a way, somebody we hadn't really heard of in this area. But he was up on it, he was up to speed, and fortunately he was able to share it with us. Now, the other thing that we're hearing is that when would we be notified if that's the case for Monday? Could we get notified on Father's Day, on Sunday? It's quite possible. Could we be notified in the morning Monday before setting of appointments when the staff goes in at 10:45? Ostensibly, they would be ready to go to start setting appointments at, let's say, 11 o'clock in the morning. Now, that was Central Time, but it may apply in each time zone. My theory was that when we got these notifications, they would be at the same time in each time zone. So we don't know whether it would be, could be Sunday. I doubt it would be before then, but it's possible. And then certainly if they're going to start setting appointments after they go in at 10:45, let's call it 11 on a Monday morning, quite possibly we would be notified and set those appointments at that time. So that was late information that just came in prior to the call. Happy about that, because otherwise, prior to last night, we were sort of in the doldrums for a couple of days. You know, we weren't really getting the winds of intel that normally keeps us afloat and moving forward. Today it changed a little bit. We were able to get a little bit that pointed toward what I just mentioned. Now, beyond that, we don't really have anything specific beyond what I just brought out that says that we are going to go at a certain time. What's interesting is the intel sources that are out there that some of you are reading online are all saying that they're either under NDA or they've been told to be quiet, they've been told not to put out any more intel, blah, 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 that type of thing. I have not been told to be quiet. I just haven't. Now, I try to give you guys the most accurate information that I get. That is what I feel my job is on the big call, and that's what I've been trying to do for these 11 years. So I want to mention that, and I want to say that a lot of the people that we normally talk to have been put under gag order or new NDAs, and it's quiet. So I'm fortunate to have what I have tonight, and I'm happy to be able to bring it to you. I want to say this is a good time, if you haven't done it already, to make sure that your project presentations are really world class. And the way that you do that is to get in touch with Sue by email at integratedminds@hushmail.com. Integrated Minds, INTEGRATED, Minds, MINDS, at hushmail.com. Now, there is a charge for this. It's an investment that you're making in your presentation. It's $165. So on the subject line, when you send your email, you want to put world-class formula, $165, indicating that you understand that it's a $165 investment that you're making in your presentation. And you'll get the formula, you'll get the examples, you'll get everything that you need to create a world-class presentation from all the information that Sue forwards to you. Also, make sure you watch your emails. Check your junk file in case an email shows up in there. So what you want to do is put your name and your cell phone number in the body of the email so that Sue, if she needs to, can reach you with a call or by text, okay? And she'll know who she's going to talk to, because the email addresses sometimes don't have anything to do with our name, okay? So make sure you do that and stay on it, because she will send those out. Routinely, you'll get those quickly, up to maybe 3 hours after you send it. You should get a response, and then that way you can track it and continue to track it for more information that Sue will send. Obviously, if you have a PayPal account, it's the best way to handle it, but if you don't, she can invoice you and figure out another way to pay. All right? Sue mentioned earlier the idea of designing your best future. Okay, this is a 4 one-hour session package of training that is customized to you. It's designed specifically for you, where you are now and where you intend to be in 6 months. So these 4 one-hour sessions are usually scheduled back-to-back at the same time of the day for 4 days straight. But that can vary a little bit depending on the schedule. So that package is $599 for 4 one-hour sessions, same address, Integrated Minds at hushmail.com. Okay? So make sure that you get those emails out tonight. Make sure. See, here's the situation. The Zim is worth so much. If you've got some, you know the size of the notes. Those bonds are bearer bonds, payable upon demand to the bearer. Okay? You're going to get the full amount of that denomination, which is the type of note that it is. You'll get the full amount of it, certainly if you are doing projects. You will get a super rate on it. Okay? And so what I want to say is it's important to realize that the Zim, the fact that we have the Zim, it's designed for these humanitarian projects. Okay? You don't have to use every nickel of it for your projects. You will have access to a portion of it. You will have access to it for your own use or to do other things. But the real thrust of the Zim is for humanity, is for projects that will help other people, not only here in the U.S., but around the globe. I told you guys years ago, the Zim was going to be in my God account, my humanitarian account. The currencies, whatever they end up being worth, which is substantial, will be more what I'm going to use for my purposes. Okay? But I believe that I can essentially say most, if not all, of the Zim proceeds will be used for humanitarian purposes. All right? Plan to do it that way. So make sure that you're set up with something similar to that you align with that. And I want to just say we're going to have a quantum account through the QFS, the Quantum Financial System. We'll be taking a portion of our Zim exchange, or Zim redemption, rather, and that's in the quantum account in a digital USN currency, and we'll be putting a portion of that, probably at least 10 to 50% of it, possibly more, into a primary Wells Fargo account. And that account is what we'll earn interest on. Not the quantum account, but the primary account that we have set up through Wells. Okay, and you can move that money if you don't like Wells. You can move it to another bank. Okay, you can move to 2 or 3 banks. You know, I'm going to start with Wells and then take it from there. I'm also going to have a secondary account, which I used to call the spillover account, which I hope will be able to take the interest that the primary account earns and spill it into the secondary account, and I'll operate from that account with some of my projects. Do it that way, all right? So that's just a short and sweet version of what we can be looking forward to. I'm hoping that this intel that I received today holds true for us, and that we could very well be exchanging as early as Monday of next week. But let's see what happens and see what happens in the next 3 or 4 days, okay? Now, I mentioned that we were going to bring Sue and Bob back in for kind of a roundtable mini discussion.
Right. I want to intercept that, Bruce. It's
Go ahead.
A little late. Do we want to maybe do that for Tuesday? Because they've absorbed quite a bit, and
yeah.
I just
all right. Let's do that.
I know, Brains,
that
you did a great job on the intel. So,
thank you.
what do you think, Bob?
Okay, that's
what
fine.
do you think? Oh, maybe Bob's not there.
Well, I think you're
right, Sue,
because
the later it is, the more people are going to drop off.
Yeah. So,
well, we'll
thank you for being willing,
strategize that for Tuesday. Yeah. Thank you, Bob.
Exactly.
Thank you, Sue, for bringing that up that way and intercepting. I think you're right. So let's do this, you guys. We'll try to cover that if we have a call Tuesday. If we don't, we'll see where we are at that time. So thank you, Sue, for that idea.
And just let's just line it up. This is going to be pulling in your future self that drives your life as the leader of your life and the leader of your teams. And we're going to give you some tips and some strategies, and it's all going to be about how you develop your organization around learning. So it's going to be really fun. You're not going to want to miss it. It's how you're going to keep people engaged. If we do it.
If we even do it.
It's how you get your people engaged. It's just know that that's waiting in the wings with Bob's great experience, Bruce's great experience, and Sue's great experience to help you shape how you create great cultures, teams, and lead with high performance. So that's it.
Thank you, Sue. That's good. All right, everybody. I think we shared everything that we intended to share. Let's do this. Let's pray the call out, and then we'll turn off the recording. Lord God, we just thank you that we did have enough intel to share tonight to give everybody an idea of where we stand. I'm happy for that, and I'm happy that we were able to help people with what Sue brought and with what Bob brought. And thank you for everything that you're providing for us. Thank you for lining up everything for us so that we can get notified and that we can go forward with the blessing that you have provided for us.